right, I'm here with Mark. He's been kidnapped. He's in the back of a van, but we're here to talk about Fuming Mouth and their latest record, Last Day of Sun, out November 3rd on Nuclear Blast. How's things going with you?
Dude, it's going really great. We just played our first show of tour at St. Vitus in New York City, and we couldn't have asked for like a better first show. Um, we played a lot of new songs. Um, and it's one of those things when you play new songs, it's like kind of uh, you know, you got to get into the groove of it. And I can already feel those new songs. We're really getting in the groove of them, getting comfortable with them. And the old songs feel great. The crowd was awesome. And yeah, man, I feel up right now. It's cool.
How much has the touring and the gigging really helped you guys, harness the sound of the band coming into this record?
That's a great question. I mean, to be honest with you, like with this record, um, I had cancer and I was in a hospital bed. I couldn't tour. And so a lot of the music was written without touring in mind. It was written almost like, well, I mean, if I'm about to fucking die, I might as well like really just like do whatever I think is like best in my heart, my mind, as opposed to kind of what's best for my hands or somebody else's hands in the band or the crowd. So I think that's where a lot of the like new songs kind of differ live. It's there's a song "Kill the Disease" and the riff is all there's. The open note is played very infrequently. It really returns to the first fret a lot, and that live is like that. It something to watching that doesn't play live a lot. It doesn't sound that crazy, but it is.
That's one of my favorite songs on the record, by the way. I love how hooky the choruses are on this album. If you don't know
Yes.
the titles of the tracks, all you have to do is listen to the chorus. You'll get the idea of exactly of what the title of the songs are. Kill the Disease is a perfect example of that. And when I was listening to it, I'm like, these guys better play this song live because it has
Oh
all
yeah.
the ingredients of a live song. I mean, it feels like it was made for live.
It's awesome you say that because sometimes I'm like, I guess really what it comes down to. Last night was our first night playing Kill the Disease live. And I think going into it, looking back on it, it feels more and more comfortable. I think as we play it every night, it's just going to get better and better. And I can definitely say that's the first song where, you know, all three of us were four piece. Um, all three of us playing guitars and bass, we all sing Kill together at the end. And it feels very good live. Yes.
When you look at this record sonically, is this a more textured and layered album than its predecessor?
Absolutely, in every single way, and even Beyond the Tomb. This was. I went into this knowing that we wanted to expand our sound. We wanted to, um, yeah, exactly what you say, bring in more textures and respect and blasphemy. There's um, there's so many leads on that can go anywhere from like a Bay Area band like Slayer or something like that, all the way to like something Scandinavian and really just bringing in a lot of those leads. Um, very guitar focused. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Very still guitar focused, but yes, bringing in new textures and dynamics.
But even with the guitars, you're talking about being guitar focused. I love the fact that you guys created almost two different parallel levels as far as the guitars are concerned. There's that bass level that gives you that thickness, that almost crust that the sound has, and then you guys infuse these more melodic, more driven, more penetrating riffs over the top, interlaying it, taking it away, bringing it back. Makes the sound very rich, more perhaps than you would expect from a death metal band. Are you
Thank you.
guys rediscovering what death metal means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think it's I think it's what you make it. I would say like if you see a dump truck, like a huge dump truck, you can look at that and be like, "Oh, that's so death metal." But then like you can look at like uh I don't know, there's just like a dying flower or something and be like, that's so death metal. And like when you start looking at life like that, you can kind of look at the genre like that. And as opposed to like having to be like a Cannibal Corpse copycat, which a lot of bands do, or follow in certain footsteps. And you know, death metal is I just try and always dig deeper as far into influences go. Um, the scene back in the late 80s and the early 90s. And especially on this one, a lot of the bands that influenced those bands like bigger bands like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, that like or Black Sabbath, Autopsy, Chris Reifert listening to Black Sabbath and listening to that. So yes, it's taking on this new meaning, but it's also a deeper understanding.
Considering the sound, the texture, the everything that brought you guys to this record, did that have an impact? Did this album's creative process change because of all the dynamics around it changing? And like you said, you're battled with cancer as well.
Yeah, it did. It made me want to make things more disgusting and dripping and evil and
You achieved that in
bigger
the
and more
interlude.
high gain,
As
you
far as
know?
disgusting is concerned, you achieved that with the interlude. I love the title of the interlude.
Thank you. I've always loved like titles like that. Like Nirvana has like Anorexorcist, like anorexia and exorcist. And if you do it right, I think it's real good. I think Disgusterlude really is the perfect interlude for this album. Yes. Thank you.
When you look at this record, at the design, at the structure, I really like how you guys divided the album. First of all, you have that interlude that breaks the album from side A to side B, gives it a classic feel. But then you have a side A that feels, to me at least, a lot more dynamic at the surface with songs like The Silence Beyond Life and Leaving Euphoria. But then the second half of the album, the changes feel more like nuances. Like you have to dive a little bit deeper in order to see where the changes are. Are you guys aware of that difference between the first half of the record and the second half of the record?
Yes. And it's also, and I've been saying this a lot in a lot of records, and that's something you picked up, Pedro, and I really appreciate it, is this is not a singles record. This is an album. And we do live in kind of a singles time where like, the one song rings true. And from an album perspective, this does, you have those dynamics at first, but then as you get deeper into the album, you get kind of deeper into the filth, especially when you get towards Rest and Piss or Burial Practices. And and then that all is tied together to lead to Postfigurement, which is this, idea of after all, these things have happened, where did things stand post, and that has this soaring element. So it's very deliberate.
Did you guys ever thought about putting a song like The Silence Beyond Life or Leaving Euphoria, something along those lines, or maybe a hybrid of the two on the second half of the album? Did that ever cross your
Yes,
mind?
yes. Leaving Euphoria was supposed to be track 8. It was supposed to be this like really like what is happening. And if you listen to our first album, The Grand Descent, there's a song called Distant Voice, and that is the idea that the HM2 pedals all break and all the drums break and everyone breaks down, kind of like fumes is in when you're out of like, you're exhausted and like you're literally running on fumes. And Leaving Euphoria is that evolution of that idea. And I think when deliberately choosing the track listing, after there's a song called The Sign of Pain that is quite, it could be really punishing on the ears because it's a heavy one front to back. And I think after where that came in as track 4, it was just like there's no other way. Leaving Euphoria has to go on side A in order to bring that level of exhaustion in, and also take that catharsis and kind of deep breathing in order to restart into the second half.
I really enjoyed the guitar sound on this album. And before
Thank
I
you.
ask you about the overall guitar sound, I have to ask you about the solos because normally on records like this or that have this sort of feel in terms, like you said, being very filthy in terms of the sound, the solos almost feel like an add-on or they're just there to kind of like, because they're have to be there or people expect them
Yeah.
to be there, all of that shit. But I felt like you guys brought some solos. You talked earlier about Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. The solos
Yes.
feel more out of something out of those style of bands than out of a death metal band. So when you're looking at solos for a record like this, do you have an idea of what you want, not just the solo to sound like, but what do you want the solo to give the song?
Yes, exactly. And one of the guitarists I'll really um say helped make that happen was Kurt Ballou, who recorded this album. He's known for God City, but his guitar talents are so good, and he was so encouraging in bringing out more than just one-dimensional guitar solos. Like in "I'll Find You," we have a little bit of I don't want to say a blues scale, but this is not your natural harmonic minor, or this is something uh definitely different than your evil style of guitar soloing. And I think he really helped bring that out. I knew I wanted to achieve that on songs like the solo and um the Sign of Pain is like that is like I want it to be like textbook, like Ride the Lightning, like some, or like something like Kirk Hammett. um so those influences are there. I'm thinking about them, and it's hard. I won't lie. Playing those live, it's like after my bone marrow transplant, it is hard to get my have like an ebb and flow when playing these solos. Like sometimes I'm killing it, and then other times it's just like I'm still regaining strength and I'm still recover. There are like little moments where I'm still regaining my strength, and but they they're there. They're definitely there.
Strength beyond strength. I must say, when it comes to you guys in this record and you personally. Now, when you're looking at
Thank
your
you.
vocal performance, uh, most dynamic vocal performance I've seen from you guys on anything that you ever released. Uh, Happy surprise because it was like, oh shit! So there's a lot of tools here that this dude has, and I think he's been holding back a little bit. How did you approach this album vocally? Like, did you want to put it all out there?
I wanted to put it all out there. I started trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody like a Judas Priest or Iron Maiden. I was like, wow, they really did not care back then, and they were putting it all out there. And then my death metal influences were listening to them. They were listening to Ozzy. Ozzy was putting it all out there. Shouldn't I do the same? And sometimes I feel like I am holding back, and sometimes I listen to those vocal performances, and I do think they could be better. But you know, ultimately, I'm really glad there's like saying "I'll find you." There's a whole entire vocal part that kind of slows down, and I really tried to do like a Tom Warrior, Celtic Frost, like monotheist style or triptychon vocal approach to it. And I'm I think having those bringing those influences like and then like going for that, I think really expanded the vocals.
Who's been your biggest influence when it comes to vocals? Is there somebody that you look up to?
It's hard. I really don't. Like I used to go to hardcore shows when I was younger, and at hardcore shows like in 2012, a lot of times like the singer would just give you the mic and you would get a chance to scream, and it was just so spur of the moment. And that's how I found my voice. I got really lucky that way because I don't know if I would have ever tried um before. So that's kind of how I fell into it. And then along those lines, fine tuning the band. I look at Chuck in Death. He like the way he approaches screaming is amazing. There's demos, pre-Control Denied, I think, where he's doing like actual clean vocals on death songs. I think that's cool. He was so ambitious in death metal, and I want to be that ambitious too.
Wow. I want to talk to you about that UK tour that you guys are going to hit up in January.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's a nice little UK tour run for you guys. I saw you guys in Toronto when you guys were touring with the Black Dahlia murder. So any plans on returning to Toronto?
We're playing. Yo, when are we playing Toronto? November 5th. We're coming back.
You guys are coming back?
Yeah, with Devil Master. It's gonna be a small show, but you should come out. Toronto's gonna be sick.
Oh, wow. All right. So Toronto's going to get another taste of Fuming Mouth. That's fucking great because you guys put on such a great show on that Black Dahlia murder tour. How was that tour for you guys?
It was incredible. I mean, it was um it was an opportunity we've never gotten as a band. A lot of times people will be like, Fuming Mouth, that's a hardcore band. They're not metal. And then the other side will be like, that's metal band. They're not hardcore. So, the Black Dahlia murder taking us out, having Terror support them, and them being part of the tour too. Um, it just it gave us a space and a chance to really show be authentically Fuming Mouth. And I think by the end of it, we played a show in Edmonton, and I look back on the videos of that, and it's some of my favorite Fuming Mouth performances. One of my favorite Fuming Mouth performances, and yeah, it was just great. That was our first big tour back since I got diagnosed with cancer. So it's very memorable. I'm very happy and grateful.
Nice way to get things going after such a dark period in your life. And now you have this UK one at the beginning of 2014. You're on the road right now.
Yep.
How is your schedule looking like for the rest of 2014, sorry, 2024? Man, my years are all fucked up.
We're going to figure out the tour routing, but we're going to be playing two really, really, really big festivals that I'm like, a death metal band is going to play these festivals, but we're really excited to do it. I can't wait to say what they are yet. And then we're going to tour around that. Yeah, that's going to be the spring. And we're going to hit Toronto in a few days. But I promise you, we're going to hit Toronto again after that, too.
I'm assuming that you're pretty much getting ready to announce that you guys are going to be playing at Coachella. So they're going to be playing at Coachella.
It's not Coachella. It's not Coachella.
It's not Coachella. At Burning Man.
Do not listen to Kendra. Yeah, it's Burning Man. Where else? We're going to play that Sphere that YouTube's been playing. Yeah. The Las Vegas Sphere. That's the next one.
Las Vegas Sphere, Burning Man, and Coachella. Fuming Mouth is going to be hitting all of those big ones. If Lollapalooza comes back, or anything of that nature, they'll be there too. One last question for you: if you could put together your ideal metal band, regardless of the genre, who would you pick for what spot?
Oh man, this is the sickest question ever. Ozzy as the singer, undisputed.
Okay, we're starting good.
That Dave Lombardo, because everyone thinks he's only a fast drummer, but he's versatile. He's talented, and he can do. I think him backing up Ozzy would be a really beautiful thing. I would revive Randy Rhoads from the grave. Definitely. He would come back. I would love to see the two of them play together. And then on bass, I'm trying to think who would be cool. Rex from Pantera.
Wow, that's a surprise choice. I honestly didn't think you were going to go with that. I honestly thought you were going to say Chuck, but Rex is a cool choice too.
Yeah. Was it metal or death metal that you asked?
Any genre.
If it's in the full scope of metal, that's the 4.
All right. Wow, that would be quite the lineup. I wonder what kind of music those cats would bring to the yard. That would be really interesting. I'm sure their milkshake would be better than mine, that's for sure. So
I think it would hopefully it would be a new age of Ozzy Osbourne. You know what I mean? Loves that as well. But I think it would be really cool to see Lombardo playing in a little bit more like a classic metal style than aggressive thrash that we love him for.
all right, Mark, man. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for taking my call on the back of a van while you guys are on the road. All the best for you on this tour. All the best for you from that UK tour run that you guys are going to do in January of 2024. Thanks for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, Pedro, thank you so much, man.
Take care, man. All the best.
Yeah, later.
All right, I guess we're back for part 2. I love this.
I had to follow it up. Talk to the band about it. Dream lineup: Ozzy Osbourne, Chuck Schuldiner, Dave Lombardo, Lemmy Kilmister.
Wow. But
That's the one.
wow. I don't even know what to say. That's I don't even know what music would these guys put together? Like what kind of music would these guys put together?
That would be up to them because they all play at different speeds. And they all like dial it in together, and that's all I gotta say.
Wow, that's killer lineup. I mean, it was worth getting back on this Zoom call to get this revamped lineup. This
Yes.
this version 2.0 of the original lineup.
The original one, I basically just gave you Ozzy Osbourne. You know, it's like with Randy and Ozzy, it's like let me give you a dream team, and that's the dream team.
All right, that's the dream team. I'm glad that you had some time to reconsider and you bust me back and we get to chat. Listen, dude, I was after we were finished the first Zoom, now we're on the second Zoom. I was thinking to myself, I interview a lot of people, but you've been one of the best interviews that I've ever had the pleasure to do and sit down and talk to. Not everybody,
For real, thank you.
Not everybody is really good on the other side of the camera in terms of really expressing how they feel and explaining about their music. I could sit down and talk for hours with you about Fuming Mouth, about metal, about whatever. It's such a breath of fresh air to talk to somebody like yourself, man. I really had a pleasure having this chat with you.
Dude, me too. Thank you. Let's do it again.
I can't come to the show August 5th, but the next time you guys are in Toronto, please hit me up. Let me know. I'll come to the show. I'll bring my gear with me and let's have a chat in person.
That sounds good. Let's do it.
We have a date.
Yes, we have a date in person.
All right. I'm going to hold you up to it. I'm going to hold you up to it.
In-person interview.
Yes.
I'm there.
All right. We'll do it. Next time
count on me.
In Toronto, shoot me a message a couple of weeks before you guys are supposed to drop by.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'll drop everything that I'm doing. I don't care if Pornhub is be on that week.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll come down to the venue and we'll have a chat in person.
Let's do it. That sounds awesome, Pedro.
All right, man. Stay safe on the road. Take care, man.
Oh, yeah. Later.
See you, man.